with a song that we all know and love, Great Are You, Lord. So if you want to grab your lyrics and worship with us. You give life, you are love, you bring light to darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. All the earth. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Sing it. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you decided to join us for daily worship today, whether you're watching it with us live or later in the day. So we're in the Psalms, and I wanted to sort of set up what we're reading today in case you haven't read it yet or gleaned some spiritual insight from it by asking you this question. You ever met these two completely extreme kinds of people? The first kind of person is depressingly negative about everything. Like that, you surely everybody knows one of these people. And so, like, you could say, I won the lottery. Like, I won the big lottery, like the whatever, pick your number, the $1 billion lottery. And this person would say, the government's going to get half of it. Like, what? Or you could say, hey, we're pregnant, we're having a baby. And they could say, do you know what a baby costs in the course of a lifetime? I mean, seriously. Or you could say, I just got married, and they'll quote the statistics on how many marriages don't make it. I mean, seriously, this person is just like negative about everything. I know a few of these people in my life. They're hard to be around. I mean, they just can't find their way to find something positive. And then, so you have the one extreme, which is the depressingly negative person. Then you have the other extreme, which is the person that's annoyingly positive. You ever met one of them? I got a terminal diagnosis. Well, you're going to get to be with Jesus. Or how about this one? I went bankrupt. And someone could say, well, there's only one way to go now. It's just up. Or you could say, I lost my job. And they could say, think of how much time you're going to have now. You've been asking for having more time. So you have these two extremes. And the psalmist, when you read the Psalms, and we've been in them now for a while, if you've been following in our daily Bible reading plan, the psalmist can be really negative. And like he just finds his way into this, and some of it's justified. It's a really bad season. So in Psalm 77, you'll hear him say, and this is not really the part I want to focus on, but you'll see him just to set it up. I remembered you, God, and I groaned. I meditated, and my spirit grew faint. I was too troubled to speak. And he goes on and all this stuff. And after a while, you're like, man, I don't know if I can take this. I mean, this guy's so depressed, like I'm reading the Bible so I can get lifted up. And, he's sort of in gloom and doom like the whole time, but not really the whole time. The psalmist finds his way to a third option. Instead of being depressingly negative or annoyingly positive, he finds his way to being realistically hopeful and faithful. And he does it by looking back so he is able to look forward from a different perspective. He looks back so he's able to look forward. And it goes like this in verse 10. He says, after doing all this sort of really depressingly negative stuff, he says this, then I thought, to this I will appeal. The years when the Most High stretched out his right hand, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago. I will consider all your works and meditate on your mighty deeds. And then he goes on to describe them. And he talks about, just to give you a taste of it in verse 16, the waters saw you, God. The waters saw you and writhed. The very depths were convulsed by you, God. The clouds poured down water. The heavens resounded with thunder. Your arrows flashed back and forth. Your thunder was heard in the whirlwind. Your lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and quaked. And he goes on. He goes on and on basically to say, I'm going to remember the good things God did in the past and trust him for good things God will do in the future. I remembered good things God did in the past and trust him for good things God will do in the future. So in this way, we find the middle ground. And actually, it's the better ground because there's no situation that requires us to be persistently negative. And if we're really going to be honest, there are things that go on in our lives that are difficult and challenging, and you can't always spin that into something positive. The psalmist found the third way. We can find the third way. Today, some of us might be struggling with something. We might be struggling with a job we got to go to, or the kids that were fighting with us, or our spouse that we got into an argument with, or financial troubles, or whatever it is. We can be honest about that and say, man, this is a hard season. Whatever it is, maybe it's a diagnosis, whatever it is. But we don't have to hang out there, and we don't have to be sort of naively positive. We can be realistically hopeful by looking at what God has done, by carrying the scope of all the things God has done in our lives, and then setting that into our future and saying, this might not be a good situation. This might not be a great day, but God is still a great God. And because of that, I can trust him and be realistically hopeful for my future. You can do that. You can. Let me encourage you to consider that God gave you life today. You woke up this morning. God breathed life into you. This day was meant to steward realistically, hopefully, and we can do that today. So what I'd like to do is we normally just finish with a prayer. I'd like the last song. We started with a song, but we only did one. We're going to do one more song. I'd like this to be our prayer today. And let me encourage you to cry this out from your heart, not just as some song that we sing, but as a prayer towards God today. Let's finish like that.
I've searched the world, it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise, treasures they fade, never enough. You came along, you put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you see them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain, still the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh, it's true. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You give mourning for ashes. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. One more time. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Lord, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. You guys have a wonderful week. Thanks for joining us this morning.